So the Texas Longhorns are not done in the transfer portal because yesterday they went out and made a big move in the portal, getting in a former Crimson Tide wide receiver, a former 4-star wide receiver in Agiye Hall. And today we need to break down what this move means, why this is a big move for the Longhorns, and why so many eyes are sure to shroud this situation. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited that Agiye Hall has found a new home with the Texas Longhorns? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification because I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed this content, like and comment down below, as those interactions, though seemingly small, are incredibly impactful to content creators such as myself, in both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all of that, let's break this down. And first and foremost, we need to talk about the talent Agiye Hall brings to the table, because this is a former top 100 recruit in the nation, the number 5 wide receiver in his respective class, coming in as a 4-star out the state of Florida. And Agiye Hall has got a lot of ability. Standing 6'3", 190 pounds plus, what he gives you is a big-bodied wide receiver that can utilize his physicality, his height, and then gives you a big catch radius, which are obviously intriguing factors whenever you're talking about a wide receiver. But Agiye Hall also has a ton of athleticism, and it's going to be interesting to see how he's utilized in Steve Sarkisian's offense. He's someone that burst onto the scene during A-Day, made some really impressive catches, but ultimately was never able to follow that up during the season. It's going to be an interesting situation for a few different reasons. First and foremost, we look at what Texas has already gotten out of the transfer portal, in which case their skill positions are really impressive this next coming up year. Whether you're talking about Xavier Worthy, Whittington, O'Meary, then you get Nayor out the transfer portal. Now you add in Agiye Hall to the conversation. You have Jaleel Billingsley. You have Jatavian Sanders. You have Quinn Ewers, who you got out the transfer portal. Your running backs, all the skill positions are really talented. It's the offensive line we've got to look at. I've been speaking about this constantly. The Texas fans and the Texas content creators I talk to, we've talked about this constantly. That's going to be the place where your eyes must watch, because if the offensive line can't come together, ultimately, those skill positions are a lot of flash, but not a whole lot of effect on the game if the offensive line doesn't allow things to come together fully and be able to maximize. But good news for Texas, they recruited that offensive line incredibly well. Just got a great offensive line class in, and so that's going to be interesting to see. But what an addition in terms of skill position, because Texas has got a lot of guys in that category. But now let's talk about another layer of intrigue here, because Texas and Alabama are set to play each other this year, and you can bet your bottom dollar that that game now just got a bit more interesting. And here's why. Texas has already taken multiple people that have entered the transfer portal from the University of Alabama, whether we're talking Keelan Robinson, whether we're talking Jaleel Billingsley, whether we're talking Ben Davis and now Agiye Hall, not to mention the coaches that Texas took from Alabama. So there's already going to be some level of interest between these two teams playing because of some familiarity and because Nick Saban wants to continue his pristine record against former assistants, having a massive advantage over assistants and having only lost to 2 former assistants. That record was one that Nick Saban wants to keep that way for the foreseeable future. And now when you have a situation like Agiye Hall's, where with everything that happened at Alabama and now he transfers to Texas, a game that already had so much interest in it is now going to have even more interest in it because of a situation like this. And finally, we talk about that, because not only did Josh Pate make it awesome point last night when he was doing his rapid reaction to Agiye Hall transferring to Texas, but we also need to talk about something that Nino's Sports Corner said on this show whenever I was talking to him about NIL, because I think the logic carries over. And we'll start with what Josh Pate said, because as Josh Pate said, he mirrored a lot of my comments on this situation. Something I constantly say is the transfer portal is a pendulum, and we don't need to assume just because a player's in the portal that they're not going to work out. Sometimes a change of scenery is incredibly impactful. And I always talk about, not only in football, but in life. We've all had situations in life like that, where a change of scenery is best for all parties involved. And hopefully this is one of those circumstances. But we also need to understand there was a lot that went into this, and there was a lot of frustration on the part of Nick Saban around this situation. There's also some unknowns here, and I'm not going to pretend to know the unknowns, nor am I going to pretend to speculate on the unknowns. That's why I haven't up to this point. I think that would be irresponsible to do so. So, this is going to be something we've got to watch. Hopefully it all works out. Y'all know me. I want in a perfect world for all these individuals to go to college, find success, and realize their dreams. That's why I got into this field. And so I'm very hopeful that Agiye Hall is going to flourish at Texas, but I cannot wait for that Alabama-Texas game because I think there are going to be a lot of people that are itching to get on that field. But with all that being said, hop down to the comments, let me know what you're thinking about all this. That's it. See ya.